Hello, everyone. Welcome to Behind the Helm. If you want to check out this show live, make sure you go to Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch every Thursday at 4 p.m. If you want to watch the show afterwards, you can go to YouTube. We'll have our regular show plus bonus content. If you want to listen to the show in your car, maybe in the shower, maybe while you're just chilling doing a workout, head over to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you could find a podcast, and search up Behind the Helm. Enjoy the show.
Episode 67. Welcome in, one and all. If this is your 67th time here, thank you. Keep it coming. Still trying to get to 1,000 followers before the first of the year, and we're rapidly running out of time. And if this is your first time here, thank you. And it's about time. Welcome in to Behind the Helm, the military podcast where we don't just talk about the Navy. Am I a little biased about the Navy? Maybe just a little bit. But, you know, we have different recruiters on and from different branches, and we talk about stuff all the time. All right, we got a new follower. Look at that. We got our new little thing that pops up. It was different. Now it does like this whole little thing. So anyway, welcome in. So again, you can watch this on YouTube. We're on Twitch. You can always watch it after the fact, but if you're watching live, it's great because you get the opportunity to interact with us, ask questions, and derail the show, which I do on my own quite well, as I'm doing right now, right? So episode number 67, what are we doing? It's labeled Dustin Detro. I'm assuming that is you, and yes. We're going to introduce you and talk to you a little bit about some stuff, but before we do that, make sure that you do smash that like button. go up in the corner if you're on YouTube, hit that little bell, get the notifications. Make sure you subscribe to all those algorithmic. There we go. It's a word. Algorithmic things. It really helps us to be found. You never know who it's going to help. Make sure you share the feed. Okay. Even if the military is not for you, it could just be some interesting information. We go over some videos. You see some stuff. It could help somebody else. You never know who you're going to help. So thank you so very much. Find it, like it, share it, follow it. With that being said, let's get into the episode. So we're talking to Dustin Detro. I'll introduce you in just a minute. We're going to talk about the rate that you chose. And we're going to kind of explain what that is and watch a couple videos and kind of talk about it and get your reaction to it. So, again, with me, obviously, I'm Chief Dowden, as always, and with me, I have Dustin Detro. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Dustin Detro.
Originally from?
Winchester, Indiana.
Your whole life, right?
Yep, I've lived there my whole life.
Now, you're a little bit older. Like, someone would look at you and be like, oh, kind of an older guy, right? But
Yep.
We've talked on the show a lot that I didn't join until I was 26, didn't really leave till I was 27. You just recently, happy late birthday, turned 27 yourself, correct?
Yep.
And you have been in the area. I know you've worked in some different locations and stuff like that, but you've been in the area pretty much your whole life. I mean, your family is from Winchester. You're still very close with them. You help mom and dad all the time. So, what was it? Because correct me if I'm wrong. You have some family that's in the military.
Yep, both my brothers are in the military. Well, one is still. The other one just got out about 5 years ago.
And the brother who got out a little bit ago, he was in
Marine Corps.
the Marine Corps, and then the brother that's still in is in Indiana National Guard.
Yes.
Correct. Okay, and then you went Navy. So
Yep.
we got 3 different paths here. So, here's a question that you get all the time, and most people do, and we get asked too. Why Navy? What was the deciding factor for you?
When it came down to it initially, I kind of just wanted to do something different for my brothers. And
Sure.
also, we had a great-grandfather that was in the Navy back in World War II, so kind of
Right.
wanted to check it out and see what that was about.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's like I tell everybody, it's a lifestyle choice. Each one, we all have our different kind of little perks about things, but it comes down to it, the benefits and stuff that we have are the same. It's kind of, what do you want to do? And I know me and you spent some time talking about stuff, and you've been very active in getting everything that you needed. Because, look, when we get a little older, okay, we have things that we need to take care of, and we've had more jobs than most, and it's more information that we have to gather. So it took us a little bit to get all your paperwork ready to go, and it's a lengthy process, isn't it? We've talked
Yes.
about it before on the show. People tend to think they're going to come into a recruiter and we're going to trap them, right? And all of a sudden, like, I'm at boot camp, I don't even know how I got here. And that's definitely not it at all, is it?
No, it was a pretty smooth process for me, just running around getting a lot of paperwork.
Right. So, and you were kind of a special case because we're not going to say why or anything, but you had to get a waiver and they couldn't get it approved that day.
Right.
So you're at MEPS, you did your test, you did the physical. We've talked about that. They had to send a waiver. They just didn't get it back that day. They weren't going to keep you there, so you left. And then they approved it, and you got the opportunity to. Man, that's what I should have done because I have that video. I should have sent it to myself so we could queue it up. It would look weird though. You gotta do a remote dep-in, and you actually did it right here in Muncie in our office with myself and Lieutenant Commander Clark over video. So it's kind of cool that you gotta do that and choose your job. And we got to sit down and look at it. I gotta kind of be the classifier, kind of. We had a classifier on the phone to make sure I didn't mess it up, but
Yeah, that was definitely different from watching my brothers do it up at actual
Right.
MEPS in person.
I feel like it was a little bit more relaxed that way. You know what I mean? So I'm glad we were able to get to do that. Again, make sure you smash that like button. Find it, like it, share it, follow it. As always, feel free. Oh, man, I don't have the multi-stream, so if anybody's messaging anything, I haven't seen it. Let's pull that up. It's the little things that you forget. So, yeah, absolutely. Make sure you throw a message down there. And even if it's after the fact, I'll make sure to get any questions answered that you have. So, again, we're with Dustin Detro, originally from Winchester, Indiana, and you technically swore in when?
Would have been the 24th.
Monday.
So
It was on Monday, right?
yeah.
Last Monday. And here's the thing. Normally, we've talked about the DEP program, and technically you're in it. You're in the delayed entry program right now. And, myself, even being older, we were just talking about it, because of my job seat and the timeline, I was still in debt for like 8 months. For you, we looked at very much so like what you were interested in. I talked to you a few times, like what kind of interests do you have? And an opportunity arose, a job spot opened up that left very quick, right? Like, because you're shipping out when? Monday. Yeah. So 2 weeks, no joke, literally 2 weeks to the day, you're shipping. That's fast. I'm going to be dead honest. It's very fast. It wasn't like prepping your times and getting there. So it was one of those things. I said, hey, there's some other jobs, but I really think that you'll like this job. And I mean, we don't have to say how much, but there might have been a little software I can use to do that. Help me out. Send it to me a message. I'd really appreciate it. But make sure you smash that like button, find it, like it, share it, follow it. So you've watched a couple of the episodes since we've talked about it. We do an homage to our eagle. And before we do that, I just want to put out to remember that next Friday, which we'll talk about it on Thursday, but next Friday is what? The 11th, which is what? Anybody know? Bueller? Veterans Day. So make sure that you thank a veteran for their service. It doesn't have to be somebody who's in or anything. Just, do so, or go up to your local American Legion or VFW and offer to buy one of them a drink or something. You don't have to, but it is Veterans Day. So for those veterans out there, tell you what, next week, I plan on going through some stuff. I'm going to pull some resources, and we're going to look at what benefits and what things to look for on Veterans Day. So here's a great, why not? You've earned it. So that's just this month. It'll be a year. And this eagle doesn't have a coffee mug, and we need a easy day. It's getting full, right? Like, I'm gonna have to eventually get a new table, all the cool stuff we got. Like, I'll have to do like an episode one time to like review just like some of the stuff that we have and the coins that we've gotten from different places. And
I was wondering that myself.
Yeah, like there's some good ones, pins from like different this like a comic shop, and patches from different people. And this was mine. That's from the Mounted Division in New York, and different Army ones we've gotten from people. Different recruiters that have been on. I think this was the first homage. We were talking about it once. It's a little bottle of my cologne that came like when we decided to do it, because it used to be like a brass eagle. So pretty cool. It's become a really, really cool thing. I really need to switch to footballs because I don't like sitting next to this New England one now that I'm on this side. Petty Officer Levesque probably watches and still laughs that I'm sitting next to it. So anyway, moving on. So originally you graduated. Again, we're sitting with Dustin Detro, a recent Navy DEP-in, as we call it. You're currently a future sailor. You go to boot camp, you become a recruit. You graduate boot camp, you're a sailor. So we're going over some stuff today. You came in a little earlier. We're going over some paperwork, talking about shipping out, which is going to continue after the show because we got a lot to go over. I want to get you as much information as possible. But you're originally from Winchester. You graduated from Winchester High School even.
Yes.
What year you graduated?
Class of 14.
2014. So, hey, shout out to Panthers, right? No. It's Winchester. Falcons, that's right. Elwood is Panthers. Shout out to Winchester Falcons, class of 2000. It definitely it takes some time to get a good bead, and it all depends on the type that you're doing, whether it's stick, MIG, TIG, and the cool thing about things like that is that we actually teach you in the Navy. It's like going to that school. You can have no experience, but you have that aptitude, right? So you've been working in welding jobs for a while now, right?
Yeah. Yep.
You currently work out. We don't got to say the name of the company or anything, but you work out in I say foundry because what it is, it's a foundry. And my wife asked me, what's the difference between you say foundry? What's a factory? There's between a factory and a foundry. And I was like, I didn't look it up, and I probably should have. And I said, well, I feel like when I think about it, you think of a factory producing things, whereas a foundry produces things, but from raw materials. And because that's what you guys do, right? Yeah, we make, for the most part,
glass bottles out of pretty much scratch.
Raw material, yeah. Yep. So to me, I don't know if that's correct. We'll have to look it up sometime. But so you work out there, very hot.
Yeah, that's about in the summertime when it's 100 degrees outside, usually the machines are running about 190 degrees.
fun, which makes the ambient air in there just lovely. So yeah, most definitely hadn't had any problems. I would say staying skinny, but I don't know. I've worked in factories before that were really hot, and there were still some big old boys that work in there. So hey, all to anybody who does that, because look, we need people to do those jobs too. That's just not for me anymore.
Easy way to exercise.
It's true. That's true. Because most of the time things like that, you're working with a lot of heavy equipment, heavy stuff's got to get moved. So we've been talking about your job and the things that how to make sure that you set yourself up for success and moving forward. So you had the opportunity. We sat down. We looked at the jobs that you qualified for. There was a cool opening that shipped very soon, again, leaving next week, this guy. So if you're out there and you're watching and you have any suggestions for Mr. Detro, by all means, make sure you post them. He's got like 4 days to read them. So, but anyway, awesome opportunity came up, and that opportunity was MMS, right? MMS is his rate, what will be his job, and MMS is machinist mate, submariner, right?
Yeah.
So when you look it up, because there's always these videos on YouTube, they changed the name. It used to be MMA, machinist mate auxiliary, and now it's just MMS, which is machinist mate submariner. So you have regular machinist mate, you have machinist mate submariner, and then obviously you got to be on a sub. Okay, so for anybody out there, submarine service, which we've had a couple different people on the show who are submariners, and like I was telling you, it blew my mind. The only submarine I'd ever walked through was the one up in Chicago, which is the U-boat that was captured in World War II. And I remember walking through there as a teenager going, nope. Nope. But it's so much different now. And we have, different types of subs, and we're going to watch a video. Specifically, it's a fast attack sub is the video that I have, because the other one was very long. This one's a little shorter. It's just a quick little tour. Everybody I know that was on submarine service, submariner, or however you want to say it. So you got to figure out too, is it submariner or submariner? It depends on who you ask. I'm just telling you. But everybody I've ever met, they love it. They loved it. So Chief Hetberg, who works down here, I think you got an opportunity to talk to her a few times.
Yeah.
Her husband he was a submariner, and he's a member of my Legion, my VFW. I talked to him, and he's told me if he could go back, he would go back to it. But he would go back to subs. He wouldn't have changed it. Our command master chief here in our command is a submariner, and was on subs for a long time, to the point where he was what's called a cob, or chief of the boat. It's basically the highest enlisted person on a submarine.
Right.
It's a little different than a regular ship, and we have these different things. So I pitched it to you and you thought it sounded pretty cool. And I think the big difference, and for those of you out there, when you're looking at these jobs, is that when you're on the surface side or the air side, you kind of have this specific job and you do this specific role. Well, on a submarine, it's a little bit more open, right? So somebody who has the job that I have, which would be considered ACF, on a sub, there's a job as SECF, right? They do more than just the weapons and electronics. The whole building just shook. I don't know what they're doing out there. And they do the navigation, everything, where this is normally multiple rates. So it's a smaller crew. It's a little bit more tight knit, and you're responsible for more. So as an MM, you're not just a machinist mate. You're kind of the engine man, the machinist mate, the hull tech, and we're going to take a look at that. So what I want to do is one of these videos you've seen, because I showed it to you. The other two you haven't, and hopefully this sub tour one is good, because I ran out of time and I started to watch. I'm like, should be good. I haven't watched it, so we're gonna review it together and see what we think. And I kind of want to get your reaction on it and what you think. So before we do that, again, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you share this feed. Get others involved. You never know who you're gonna help. So before we look at these videos, right? I asked you why Navy, and you kind of gave me that, kind of your own path, right? You have you said great grandpa.
Yeah, great grandfather.
World War II. I will tell you, man, I love the Navy. I don't know if you could have paid me enough to be in the Navy in World War II. Still like sinking ships and stuff like this. I don't know. Now it's way different, but I would say there's an awesome. It's on Smithsonian, I think, but I have it through YouTube TV. And not a plug for YouTube TV, but YouTube. Hey, it's called. I think it's called Hell Below, and it's literally like these half-hour episodes about just submarines, and a lot of it is like World War II, like all this stuff. And it's wild because I did a comm rail or like a community service type thing during this last chief season with our newly minted chief up in Michigan. They have the USS Silverside, okay, which is World War II sub in the Pacific, and it's up there, and you can tour it, and like Boy Scouts like stay overnight on it and stuff. It's really cool. And there was an episode about it. I'm like, wow, how cool, right? I've been on that, so it was really neat. So yeah, there's all kinds of stuff that you can watch about this stuff. Down Periscope, not exactly accurate for Submariner service. So if you go home and watch that movie, don't think that that's what it's going to be. That's the one with Kelsey Grammer in it, I think. But anyway, let's get into these videos. Again, please smash that like button. Make sure you share this feed, and we're going to take a look at a couple videos here. So let's see if I can do this and not mess it up. I did pretty good last week. All right, which one is it? We're going to do the one without mic so that we don't get any bleed, and they're shorter videos. So we're going to go, yeah, number 7. All right, so here we go. We're going to take a look at this. This is going to be Navy machinist mate. This is regular machinist mate. This would be surface side, not sub.
What I like about the MM rating is kind of always having to adapt, so you learn something new all the time. We're machinist mates.
We run auxiliaries, elevators, we have the stern gate, we handle ACs, galley equipment,
boilers, distilling units, 80-pound tumbler dryers that run off steam.
We also handle the anchor. We stay busy.
We also do cryogenics. We actually take air from outside of the ship, we suck it into this piece of equipment. And as the oxygen comes through the heat exchanger, the nitrogen will take the heat from it, which will make the oxygen colder, and actually liquefy it into a liquid. Liquid oxygen is negative 297 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you get that on your skin, we're talking immediate frostbite. When your pilots go high enough, there's very little oxygen in the air, and they breathe that so that they don't pass out while they're flying a plane. We also produce gaseous nitrogen. We use that for aircraft tires and struts.
So we have 3 boats here. Every day underway, you have to start the boats, all of them. And you want to check, make sure you got enough battery going, make sure it's powered up. You got to check the oil, you got to check the coolant, and make sure you got good.
Yeah, so machinist mate. Now, the thing that me and you were kind of talking about during that, right, is these videos are great. The Navy put these out, all of them, I think, roughly 3 years ago. And there's pretty much one for every single rate. So if you wanted to look up a rate or you had a question, they're great. Right? You have machinist mates there. And a lot of what they were showing there was on aircraft carriers and stuff. So doing the cryo and the liquid oxygen and those things. That's for pilots. So they're involved even though they're not attached to the air wing through the ship. Now, did we have that on the destroyer? No. So it's one of those rates that it can go on the multiple different platforms. But then you have kind of your specific thing, or you have a lot of machinist mates, like say on an aircraft carrier, you're going to have a lot, and you're going to kind of be specialized in certain stuff. Whereas on the destroyer, I want to say we had maybe 4. So again, you get into the smaller craft, they own more. They still did, the water. They still did the refrigerant for like our freezers and stuff, our reefer decks where we keep our food, very important, right? A lot of the filters and stuff like that, desalinizer, so we can make fresh water. They do a lot with that, so it's really cool. And a lot of times when we talk about like blue collar jobs or trade jobs, how does this translate? What would this be? I say machinist mate kind of rolls into kind of pipe fitter, plumber, pipe fitter to an extent, but like a lot of the stuff you saw there, like as a pipe fitter, if you're part of a pipe fitters union or whatever, you're not doing half of that.
Right.
You know, you're not necessarily, you might work with hydraulics, but you know, so it's interesting, right? Watching that video, kind of what were your, because we kind of talked about this too, like the regular surface side of it. As far as what you've done, work experience, how much of that,
Your mind off just looking at endless water, the better.
which you would think that, but, and I've heard that, you know, pretty normally. And what I always tell people is, you know, go outside, because you get yourself stuck where you get into your work and what you're doing, and there's always movies playing, you're always doing whatever. And if you're not like a smoker that goes outside to smoke, it's very easy to just not go outside. But I tell you, man, it's wild. Especially, I think the most stars I've ever seen in my life was when we were crossing the pond, and I was working a kind of a night shift job at the time, because obviously like this ship is going all the time, so sometimes you can be on night shift and you're sleeping during the day, just like in the regular world. And I went outside and I looked up and I was just like, holy cow, like it is insane. And the photoluminescent plankton, like where they talk about that, where it's like it looks like glitter, like yeah, that's real. Like where we've been like kind of like little rougher seas, and it like would kind of splash over our helo deck, the flight deck on the back, and it would have that photoluminescence. So what happens is the ship cuts through the water, it aggravates it, and it glows, and it would splash over the deck, and you'd watch it, and it would look on Sundays and stuff. So it's cool. But I get what you're saying too. What you have that's through the Department of Labor, right?
Yeah, variety.
Right.
And that was in different positions: vertical up, overhead, horizontal.
Right.
Different plate thicknesses of steel, all that kind of stuff.
So when it comes to welding, so each job, as when we're going to watch this video for MMS, right? Each job, you can do college classes on whatever you want. We've talked about that before, like how I have my gunsmithing stuff, but when it comes to US maps, it's specific to your job, right? Because you're logging hours based on the job skill that you have, and you can choose where you're adding these hours into what type of certificate. So like for mine, there's different certificates I could do. I couldn't do welding because I'm not a welder, therefore, you know what I mean?
Right.
So you have that, and then the test type stuff, that type of stuff is given based on the training that you're receiving in the Navy, and you're logging like 8 hours a day, 5 days a week in port. When you're out to sea, it's it's been a while, and now I'm gonna mess it up. 10 or 12 hours a day for like 6 days a week. So, you know, you really get that benefit. And what I want to do on a future show is I need to get a hold of my buddy who got out, who's from Galveston, and he used it to his advantage as electrician's mate, which is what Petty Officer Levesque was, and got right into the electricians union up in Kokomo. It came in higher than journeyman rate, right? And higher pay and everything. So he really used it to his advantage. Now, does Chief Dowden use US maps the way he should? No. Have I tried? Yes, but I just forget, because you have to make it a habit to log these, because it's free whether you're doing it or not. If you have a whole day that you don't do anything, you still log 8 hours towards those certificates, because it's also so many hours that you have to have, right? And then I know you've done some college courses through Ivy Tech to kind of advance some of that, and that's going to help you. You're coming in as an E2 because of just the college courses that you had, and that all goes towards that. So as a machinist mate, you know, we'd have to look. I'm pretty sure there are absolutely ways, we won't get into it, to look it up to see the different certificates and you can apply for and the hours that you have to log for them. So, and those are certificates through the Department of Labor, right? Not through the Navy, right? So it can transfer out if you decide to get out. Well, hey, now not only am I a certified welder, but I'm certified pipe fitter, certified whatever it may be, or you choose to log those hours into. So it's another big thing that I would tell you from me, is to make sure that you utilize US maps once you get to your first ship and really do that. So again, sitting with Dustin Detro, originally from Winchester, Indiana, joined just last Monday. and ships out next Monday. So we're talking about his job. Machinist mate Submariner, MMS. We just watched the video for regular machinist mate, kind of talked about that. Like you said, the diversity.
Right.
And I think, so everybody understands that going on submarines is a volunteer service, right? So you had to say, yes, that's what I do want to do that. And an MM, a normal MM, would just go to their school and then go to whatever ship. You don't have to go to destroyer school or carrier school. Any submariner has to go to a submarine school. So you have an extra school on top of that. And we're going to watch a video next that is, it's listed MMA, Machinist Mate Auxiliary, because they renamed it. So it is the closest thing to MMS, right? And this is a video that me and you've already watched, so I want to show that because it is the rate that he has chosen. Again, shout out to the class of 2014 Falcons out there in Winchester, since that's where you graduated from and when, right?
Yep.
We are the ship from atmosphere controls, pretty much anything mechanical here on board. We're the DC men, we're the engine men. This is our pride and joy. This here is our diesel engine. It's a 12-cylinder. It's our secondary source of electrical power.
About 80% of the boat is maintained and owned by Auxiliary Division. We use high-pressure air for a lot of things, mainly as a backup source for hydraulics. I've been able to work on the plumbing system, the trim and drain system. The coolest part about the trim and drain system is that's actually what keeps us level when we're out at sea. If the ship was taking on water, we would use our drain pumps. If there would be a fire on board and we would need the smoke to be exhausted off the boat, that's when we would bring in the diesel generator.
I mean, you have a crew of 150 to 200 personnel on board, and we use a lot of oxygen. So these machines here, they are oxygen generator machines. You don't need a lot of prior experience to join the Navy because they teach you.
He said you never got to talk to him. He's an AO, and he's actually out in Bahrain right now, kind of finishing up his career. He's, it's crazy because it's one of those things, man. Like, so you're coming in a little older, right? And me and you've kind of talked about it. So Chief Snyder and I actually graduated the same year. He originally, he was from the Plymouth area. I'm from, which is a little farther north, up 31, right? I'm from like kind of the Kokomo, Logansport area. He joined like a year after high school. I didn't join until I was 27. So here we are, like same age. This dude's getting ready to retire. I still got 10 more years to go. But he's out doing his thing out there in Bahrain. I recently talked to him. Me and him are going to I see you out there, Chief Snyder. He wants to he loves helping the show, loves the show, and wants to come back on. He actually gave us this shell casing right here, which is from one of the jets that he worked on in his air wing. So pretty cool.
It's good size.
Who had actually found my number, reached out to me, and he thought we only had like a few episodes because he had found it on, because of another recruiter had found it on Spotify and listened to all of them. And then when he called me and talked to me, he's like, I was going to ask if you were going to do more. I said, yeah, man, like every week. And then he found it on YouTube and he's just like, holy cow, like, so I need to get it back on the just the podcast side of things. It'll get there. So anyway, MMS, right? It said MMA. Me and you watched this video. It's kind of the video I showed you to kind of give you a idea. And you can see in this video, it's still like the MM, like kind of machinist made, but although in the MM video, it showed a lot of different things that they do. You could tell it was on different ships, right?
Yep.
Where this is on just subs, very involved, right? Like from, forward to aft, they own something. For 6 months without seeing this, that's not true. It doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Like you have to come up, you recirc the air. And I think in this next video that we're going to watch about fast attack subs, since it's not nuclear, you got to recharge the batteries and all the way that those things work. So it's a big misconception about it. Oh, you don't have any communications. They come up to like periscope depth and you send out email and all kinds of stuff. So I don't know all the ins and outs on it. I will have to hit up a submariner who's been in for a little bit, because we've talked to one in sub school. So you have to go back and find that one. I'll tell you which episode it is. I'll send it to you. And then obviously like you're getting ready to leave. So When you saw that video and we talked about the job, I know you said with the it was the diversity, doing the different things.
Yes.
When you watched that video, what did you see that kind of like sparked you? You're like, I can do that, like, or what kind of like grabbed you in that video?
I've always just been inclined to work with my hands. I mean, usually anything steel, anything that's got some sort of tinkering with it, I'm right in there and I like to figure it out.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing. Like, okay, cool. Like I can work with steel here, or I can work, but you ever going to be able to work on a submarine? Like it's pretty cool. Like it really is when you think about it that way. And just to further kind of your education,
that was one thing I actually thought about it too. I was kind of like, even all the people I've met, even people that have been in the Navy, I've never had anyone say they were ever on a sub.
Right.
Ever.
Right. Yeah. And I'll have to, like I said, I'll have to see, I know you're leaving very soon. I don't know a lot of submariners, but I know a few. And it's, man, there's I don't want to say different breed, but like we talked about it before, we're all Navy sailors. We all go to the same boot camp. We all know the same stuff. Myself and Petty Officer Levesque talked about it, like his kind of, I don't want to say lifestyle, but like is different on a carrier compared to like a destroyer, but that's still surface. And then I've talked with Chief Snyder, being, he was attached to like different air wings, not just on the carrier. The air side is different. We're still sailors, but you kind of got these like different kind of groups, right? You got like the air side, and then you got surface, and then subsurface. Like the subsurface guys are kind of different in the way that they do things or see things or talk to each other. And I think it's because it's just such a smaller crew. You're very tight knit. You said like the World War II subs very different. And in the forward part of the ship, where like you're in there and it seems so small, and you're walking through there, and it's like, geez, man, this thing just keeps going. It's even that is bigger than you think. Like it's pretty wild. So again, out there, oh, my mom said we're frozen. I show it going now. Maybe we drop some frames. So I don't know. My mom sometimes always says that it's like real choppy or whatever. I'm not sure if it's her or us, or because I'll watch it back and I think it's after the fact that it's fine. But we might have froze up for a little bit there. But again, we got some people out there in the different lands. Looks like it's going now, so it happens. Technical difficulties, man. If you don't have them, what are you doing? I mean, you'd have to go back, man. I think one of the first ones we ever did, Petty Officer and Levesque and I were out here. It was completely different. We lost power. Literally, like we're in the middle of stream. We'll show the video and we can talk about it a little bit as it goes. And then, of course, because I hit the button. So this is a small virtual tour of the fast attack submarine USS New Mexico, SSN 779. Again, we're going to take a look at this. So the fast attack, they're a little bit smaller, and we're going to see what it is. So you guys should be able to hear us. You won't see us, so we can kind of talk about it, and we're going to watch this video together before we finish. Let's take a look.
Good morning. I'm Sergeant Technician 3rd Class Petty Officer Detro. We're taking on a tour of the USS New Mexico. Originally from Texas, but I have a lot of family in Reynosa, New Mexico, as well as Albuquerque. We're ready to show you around, show you what life's like on the boat. Follow me. So right now we're top side forward of the boat. This is our VLS. This is one of our defense systems that we have on the boat. We will fire some tomahawks from here if we need to. Hopefully one day we don't have to unless we're practicing the weapons. So right now we're standing in a lockout trunk. We do diver operations in here. So let's say we're underwater at certain feet, a certain depth. We will put the divers in here, flood it with water, and that's where they escape. It's also emergency access for sometimes on the boat, and sometimes when there's heavy weather outside, we can't stand outside or have the hatches open. We open this, that way when it rains, it drains into the system and we're good to go after that. But this is where we're at right now. Pretty close, pretty tight, but what can I say? It's a submarine. So thanks for following me. Now we're inside the boat. Right now we're in upper level. There are 3 levels to the boat, upper, middle, and lower. I'm gonna take you to one of the places where we live on the boat because a lot of people ask where we sleep and how do we sleep. So let me show you really quick. Go ahead and follow me. So the berthing mount we're in right now is called Skinny Man. The reason why it's called Skinny Man because you can only traverse and transfer through the berthing sideways. You turn straight, you can't really fit in here. Not for us big folks, as some would say. So when the casualty response on the boat, there's a fire or a toxic gas, we had to get on emergency breathing. So this right here.
Tyler tomorrow. This is fire control over here. This is my space. From here, we work with the sonar team across from us. We work with off the deck contact manager to manage all the contacts out while we're submerged in the ocean and surface. So the missiles you guys saw topside, we enter the solution for those, and all the torpedoes that we have on board in the torpedo room, we develop solutions for those too.
So after we got doing fire control, now I'm bringing you to ship's control. Ship's control consists of a pilot and co-pilot. They monitor and control all of the ship's systems, as well as changing the depth. When we're traversing the ocean using a joystick, just as similar as a plane would, they use this. They could change it for going left to the right, up, down. That's how we are when we go in the ocean. And this is where basically the magic happens when you're going in a submarine. This is where we control everything. Take it to Petty Officer Oliver. He'll give a more in depth of what goes on in the machinery room. But right now, we're standing next to the diesel, which is the heart and soul of a submarine. So let me go ahead and follow me. I'll tell you Petty Officer Oliver.
Martin, I'm MMA 1 Oliver, and this is the machinery room.
Good morning. A couple years ago. Really enjoyed the time, and I hope all your science projects are continuing to excel like the ones that I saw when I was there.
All right, so now we're gonna walk into the torpedo room after we're showing you machinery room and chief's quarters. This is gonna be the rest of the low level you're about to get to see. Torpedo room comprised of all the armaments, torpedoes, and as well as where all the torpedo men sleep. I'm gonna show you around, show you TMC, tell you what he does, and so hopefully you like it. Go on down.
Hi, I'm Petty Officer Trigo. Today we're going to be talking about the torpedo room. This on my right hand side is a Mark 48 torpedo. This is what we use to defend the ship if necessary. As you know, we also have berthing down here right now. That's what all these racks are for, these curtains. So if you don't know, sleeping in the torpedo room actually isn't that bad. You have more space than other places on the boat. And then if we continue up forward, we actually have a torpedo tube open so we can actually see the inside of it.
Greetings, I am CS1 Myers with the USS New Mexico. I am the leading CS. Here in my cruise mess, we serve food. We also congregate, play games, and if you would look to my left, you will see that we have a number of pictures from our namesake, just to give us a reminder of why we come out here and do this.
So right now we're in the captain's stateroom, the biggest room when it comes to berthing that someone lives in. Reason why? He's the captain. Calls all the big shots, makes all the big plays. He's the one that controls everything going around the boat. But right here, I want to show you something specifically. Right here is an insignia submitted back in 2009 from a little girl in New Mexico. The reason why she submitted it is because before the boat became commissioned and officially the USS New Mexico, the Navy put out a competition to the state requiring students to submit a drawing resembling the state as well as the boat. This is the one I submitted, and this is the one that got voted highly recommended by Navy, civilians, as well as the military. So with that being said, this is the boat, and this is the insignia that we carry on throughout its history until this ship is no longer with us. All right, guys, that's it for the tour. Thank you for coming along. Hope you enjoyed it. In the spirit of New Mexico, defendemos nuestra tierra, which translates to, we defend our land. Take care. Thank you.
All right, so a couple things about that, right? So this is a fast attack sub. It's a smaller submarine. It's not like the big massive ones. I think he did a really good job of showing some different aspects of it, and I pointed out a couple things that obviously I didn't even notice that until I'd said it. So he showed the berthing, and when they were talking about in the torpedo room where it was showing like, he's like, yeah, it's not that bad. You get more room because it's like longer, and you could see that was makeshift. So I'm not exactly sure what they had going on. Normally, that would not be berthing. Because he said for right now, so I'm not sure.
It looks like it was right under a torpedo.
It was, which I mean that is what it is, but just he said like, as you can see for now or something like that. So I'm not sure what they had going on there. So sorry, I didn't do that research prior to. The other thing was I was telling you that on my ship is USS Cole, and a lot of different ships in their galleys or where you in the mess decks, like where you eat, like in the chief's mess and then even the crew's mess. The tables will have either insignias on it, or we had like leather covers that had like insignias on it and different things on the wall for the namesake. But what I found interesting in this, and I'd never seen this, and I think that I don't want to say it's just a sub thing. So if you've ever been on a regular ship that has done something like this, let me know. You notice that all the curtains for the racks had that kind of New Mexico desert Indian patterns, right? Ours were blue. It was blue. Most time you go on ships, the curtains are blue. I mean, it's just curtains that when you go to sleep. But I thought it was a very neat touch to the berthing and the crew's quarters, right? And then when I really noticed and pointed out was when he was sitting in the fire control seat. First off, okay, look, I will tell you in combat, the chair that I sat in was basically kind of like this. I mean, it turned, but it was like a low back seat like this, right? I don't know if you noticed. It was like a high back chair, you know that? But it had that pattern on, like it was done in that pattern on the chair. I'm like, okay, like ours was blue. Just blue leather. So I was like, man, that's really, really cool. Like they really took it that extra mile. And then like the CS was talking about like on the wall that there were pictures for the namesake. Yeah, I mean on the USS Cole, obviously like we had stuff specifically about Daryl Cole and like different flags that were flown. And even the one like when the tragedy happened, obviously before me, that was flown afterward, and one at the commissioning, and they actually belong to the Smithsonian, and they're on like kind of like permanent loan to the ship until the ship decommissions, and then it'll go back to the Smithsonian. So it's pretty cool, like the stuff that we do like that for the namesakes. And I think we were both talking about when he showed that emblem, and they put a contest out. He was saying to all the states, right?
Yeah.
And that now I asked you, and you said that that's what you heard too. I'm pretty sure he said 9-year-old girl.
Yeah. No, that's what I heard.
Painted that. And then when they showed it close, I'm like, 9? Like, that was really good. And it's really cool that we did that. As people don't think that we, as a Navy, do that type of stuff. And sometimes we do. Like, so a contest to name a submarine, and you're a 9-year-old girl from New Mexico that gets to name it after your state based on a painting that you did. And that sub will probably be in service your whole life. Like, pretty cool, So hopefully one day she gets a chance to visit it. That'd be cool. Who knows? She might have. I don't know.
I wonder if she even knows she won that contest.
I'm sure. Oh yeah, I guarantee that they did that. So I'm not exactly sure even when this was. I'd have to look that up too. But I thought it'd be a cool little video to kind of look over, and like a lot of the videos you see are like the bigger, like the big subs. It's a fast tag. This is a smaller. These are the smaller ones. Still not. It's not like this. Like you could definitely tell in space he was in. It's not.
Oh yeah.
Tiny. But seeing that when we're talking about the one in Chicago comparatively, he had some room to move, right? Berthing a little tight. But that's, I mean, the only reason you're in there is to sleep. You get in your rack, you go to sleep. And just to, I was telling you, he put on that mask. Like we have EBDs, and ours are a little different surface side, but they connect to air there. You will have one, there's a compartment, and I'm not completely positive on this ship, because on our ship, you have a compartment in your rack where it's stored. You know, he just like whipped it out. Like obviously, like for demonstration, it was like laying on. You don't have to sleep with it. It's not, you're not like cuddling it. You know what I mean? So they just had that set out so they could show you that. So pretty cool. If you have any thoughts on fast attack subs, or if you've ever served on a sub, by all means, please give us your comments below and let us know how true that was, or if there's anything that they missed, or if you have any questions about it, by all means, feel free to ask. So watching that, you know, we watched the job, you're excited about the job, and it was cool because I didn't know, like, they had an MMA one, but MMS, and he was talking about stuff I don't even think was in the video for MMA, because he was talking about, you know, they kind of talked about the diesel engines.
Yeah.
He was talking about the diesel engine being connected to an electrical generator. So, wow, just another thing that you get to learn, you know, how cool is that? So, you know, after watching that, what are your thoughts on kind of fast attack subs? And I know, like, you know, you're still learning, and you have a lot to learn, and you still, like I said, this is new to me. So, what are your thoughts now that you kind of see that? Are you like, never mind? Do I got to call my boss and be like, hey, he's not, he said, never mind.
No, I mean, it still looks interesting to me. I mean, it's a little weird thinking about being under the water for periods of time and being deep down under, but the experience to me seems really awesome.
Yeah.
I mean,
and from everything that I've been told, you don't really know. Like, you can't, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
I guess. So, you know, I guess we'll have to find out. We'll have to hear from you when you get out there and see what you think, and go from there. So I want to tell you from myself, and definitely from Petty Officer Levesque, as he had put it, you know, congratulations to you. Making a big step. It's harder to do, I think, when we're a little older. But I think the difference is we've got, no offense to anybody else who joined being younger, but I feel like we have a little bit of experience under our belt, so we know what the world has. And so you kind of come into it with a different mindset. Like, I don't think I would be where I am if I would have joined at 18.
Right.
Maybe I probably would have done like a term, got out, and be like, I can do better than this, and then realize, like, man, I should have stayed in, you know. But having that little bit of work experience, and I went into something I'd never worked in. You're going to be going into something that you have, it will be different, but you'll have
a mechanical background.
Yeah, you
with
have
it.
a little bit of a background, and I think that you're really going to enjoy it, and get to learn some really cool stuff. You're very, you know, it's intriguing, and I think that you're going to enjoy that. And I think that's even a term you used, you know, when me and you talk, it's pretty intriguing. So absolutely. So again, Dustin Detro, thank you so much. Congratulations to you. Thanks for coming on the show, being part of it.
Thank you.
You know, you want to give a shout out to anybody out there?
Appreciate all the wishes of, and thanks everybody, and especially Petty Officer Levesque.
Yeah. He started. I think I had talked to you first, and then I started doing something else, and he was working with you. And again, being a little older, it takes some time to get all the information you need for all the background checks and all this. And then he was on his way out, and I was coming back, and you know, I'm glad we were able to get everything done for you. So,
I appreciate it.
And in fact, I think you originally had reached out, not to us directly, but you were one, and for anybody out there, you can go to Navy.com. You were just kind of cruising and looking at some stuff and asked for some information. They reached out to you, and then we kind of synced up locally, and the rest is history, right?
Yeah.
So we're not going to have any bonus content today. The bonus content is getting to see Dustin Detro, a Winchester graduate, Winchester High School, 2014, and Winchester native your whole life, right?
Yep.
Off to do great things and learn some really cool stuff, I think. So thank you guys again for tuning in. Make sure you smash that like button, share this feed, hit the bell, do whatever you need to do. Get people to follow. And until next week, where I will see you and we will talk about a special Veterans Day episode. We're going to talk about some Veterans Day specials. We'll get into that, and we'll go into the history of Veterans Day. I think that'll be a cool thing because a lot of people I don't think really know where it came from and how it started. So get a little history lesson next week, but I think you'll find it interesting. So until next time, thank you guys so very much. Have a great day. Have a great week. And it's supposed to be, if you're in Indiana, it's supposed to be nice this weekend. Might have to go play a little golf.
I'm looking forward to it.
There we go. Yeah, you're on vacation, right? You took your vacation days. That's what I'm talking about. So thank you guys very much. Have a great day. Nope, that did. I'll get it eventually, I swear. I promise I will. Have a great day.